Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Saturday, April 9th, 2016, around 8:31 in the evening, Billerica, Massachusetts. The sun went down. It's dark out now. Could be some clouds tonight. Some places could have some snow flurries or sprinkles, but nothing significant. Tomorrow's going to be about 46, 47 degrees, a couple of degrees below average for this time of year, but it's getting there. Hopefully sooner or later we'll have spring-type weather. Some news to report. The Colorado Avalanche have announced that Patrick Roy will be back behind the bench for the team for the fourth year. There was rumors he was going to be fired at the end of the year because this is the second straight year that they haven't qualified for the playoffs, but they decided to renew he's returning. He and Joe Sakic have a big connection, so he'll probably decide that he doesn't want to coach them anymore if it came to that. And also, it's official, the Boston Bruins have been eliminated from the playoffs. The Philadelphia Flyers beat the Pittsburgh Penguins on NBC by the score 3-1. The Flyers are in the playoffs, and they'll face off against the Washington Capitals in the first round. And the playoffs start Wednesday on NBC, NBCSN, CNBC USA, Rogers Sportsnet, CBC, and TVA. And that's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is my personality profile. Tonight's personality profile is about the most famous basketball coach in history. I'm talking about Red Auebach. Red Auebach coached 20 seasons in the NBA. He won 9 championships with the Boston Celtics, and then he eventually became general manager and president of chairman for the Celtics. He spent 56 years in the Celtics organization until his death in 2006. Red Auebach was born and he grew up in Brooklyn, New York. His real name was Arnold Auebach, and he was of Jewish descent. His father emigrated from Russia, and his mother was born in the United States, but she had ancestry to Russia as well. And his mother and father ran a deli and a dry cleaning business in Brooklyn, New York, when he was younger, and Red developed the love playing basketball. He had a fiery temper and plus had red hair, so that's how he got the nickname Red. He played high school basketball, and he was pretty good. He was a second team All-Brooklyn basketball team his senior year. Then he went to George Washington University in Washington, D.C. He graduated in 1941. He met his wife there. They got married, and they raised their family in Washington, D.C. He got a job in a local high school teaching, and he also was a basketball coach in the Washington, D.C. school systems in the early 1940s, and was a pretty good basketball coach. And then in 1943, Red joined the U.S. Navy for a few years to serve in World War II, and he also coached basketball for the Naval Academy. And then in 1946, a new professional basketball league was forming in the United States, the BAA, which was a forerunner to the NBA. And at the age of 29, Red got his first head coaching job in the NBA with the Washington Capitals. That was a basketball team for a few years. And then he went to the Tri-City Blackhawks, which are now the Atlanta Hawks. And he had a kind of a mediocre record. And in 1950, Red Auebach signed to become the head coach of the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics at that time were a mediocre team, and they were almost on the verge of folding. But Red Auebach kind of saved the franchise, and for the next 16 years, Red Auebach led Celtics to so much success 8 times he won 50 or more games in a season. He coached in 11 NBA All-Star games. He won the Coach of the Year. One time, the Coach of the Year in the NBA is named after Red Auebach. And he led the Celtics to 9 NBA titles, including 8 straight from 1959 through 1966. And Red Auebach coached so many legends that are now in the Basketball Hall of Fame, including Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, and Frank Ramsey, and Sam Jones, and Casey Jones, and Tom Sanders, also Jim Lascaffi, and Don Nelson, to name a few, and so many others. And Red Auebach had a fiery temper at times, hard coach, but he was great at a lot of strategies. And one thing that Red Auebach loved was smoking cigars. Red would smoke a cigar every time the Celtics would win games. That's amazing. In 1966, Red Auebach announced he was retiring from coaching, but he was going to stay in the Celtics organization as a general manager. He won his last game, the NBA championship, for the 8th straight year, and his career coaching record was 9-38, 472 for a 662 winning percentage, and he in the playoffs he was 99 wins, 69 losses for a 589 winning percentage and the 9 NBA titles. But Red wasn't through winning more championships with the Boston Celtics. He was general manager for 18 years for the Celtics between 1966 and 1984. He continued to win championships. He named Bill Russell the player coach in 1966. Bill was the first African-American coach in NBA history. And also, Red also made some great moves as GM, including bringing JoJo White to the Celtics, and Dave Cowens, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, Cedric Maxwell, Gerald Henderson, Quinn Buckner. The list goes on and on and on. Red won General Manager of the Year for the NBA in 1980. And he continued to be an icon in Boston. Even though he did not set a permanent residency in Boston, he kind of commuted back and forth to Washington, D.C. His family was raised in Washington, D.C., and Red would spend a lot of time down there. And also, Red was a big fan of Chinese food. He loved Chinese food. In fact, at one time, he owned a couple of Chinese food restaurants in the Boston area, and he loved the television series Hawaii Five-O. Do 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 do. That's a theme song for Hawaii Five-O. Anyway, the Celtics retired the number 2 out of Red Auebach's honor because he was the second most important figure in Celtics history. And also, Red loved playing racquetball. He was very active doing that well into his 80s. And also, Red Auebach did a lot of videos about how to play basketball that they showed on CBS when they had the NBA coverage. And Red wrote 7 books about basketball. A few were autobiographies, and they were bestsellers. He was named to the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame in 1969. And in 1984, Red Auebach retired as general manager of the Boston Celtics, but the Celtics gave him the figurehead title of president and eventually chairman of the board. This was just like a special thing for Red because he did not really actually have too much power for the Celtics. In later years, he probably advised them, and he spent more and more time at his home in Washington, D.C., and he would be active in his mid-80s, but he was slowed down a lot during his later years by heart trouble and other ailments. He had to be like on oxygen when he made public appearances, especially the last few years of his life, and in a wheelchair. And Red fought it to the day he died. A few days before he died, he made a public appearance in Washington, D.C. about like the military, and he was still fighting ailments into the day he died. He passed away on October 28th, 2006 at the age of 89, and the Celtics and NBA honored him when he passed away. And Red Auebach was really against the Celtics having cheerleaders. The Celtics were the last NBA team to have cheerleaders. That was something Red did not really want. But eventually, when Red passed away, Celtics had cheerleaders. And Red Auebach has to be the best coach in NBA history, and probably one of the top 5 coaches of all of pro sports history. He was a innovator. He was legendary. He coached, and he drafted legendary players. He's awesome. And the court for what the Boston Celtics play at, the parquet court, is the Red Auebach court at TD Garden. That's about it on Red Auebach, and that's about it on these video blogs: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. Tomorrow you're going to get 3 more video blogs. First video blog will be about the continuation of the top 50 greatest tag teams of all time, professional wrestling, from number 20 through number 11. Second video blog will be about the form of Regional Sports Network, CSET, that was in the North Carolina area. The Carolinas, only 1 year. The main focus was Charlotte Bobcats basketball. And the third and final video blog on that will be about legendary Los Angeles Lakers broadcaster Chick Hearn, the late Chick Hearn. And keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Budding guy. Molly Rosebud of WCCLX has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart's so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swensley's awesome. Shirley Spear, Fox 25, has nice legs. And in the words of Dr. Thomas Sharkey, former principal of Belleville Memorial High School, this action will not be tolerated at BMHS. And good night, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. Sweet dreams.